Let me start. Let me start with you, Prince, because yesterday when you came in, we were just at the tail end of that conversation. So I just want us to continue from where we left off. I have listened to your side of the political divide. So when I say your side, your reps in parliaments, following the presser they held on Sunday. I've listened to the majority in parliament as well, and I've been reading the statements in recent times. I have listened to officials of Bank of Ghana. They don't speak often, but every now and then they speak. I have listened to them as well. From a layman's understanding of what I heard, emphasis on layman, because I'm not a finance person. This is what I understand. Monies have been spent. That is not in doubt. For the majority in Bank of Ghana, it is a necessary evil because our economy was in a certain state and the funds that have been used, this is not what I think, this is my understanding of what I have put together. My understanding of what they say is that, look, we have spent X amount of money, but look at inflation. We have spent X amount of money, but look at the CD to dollar. We've spent X amount of money, look at the GDP. We've spent X amount of money, look at the monetary policy rates. As in, if you go to the bank and you're going to take a loan, it used to be X figure. Today, when you go to the bank, it is Y figure. So it is not as if we have spent X figure in our mouth. Its effects are there for everyone to see. That is my understanding of what governments, as in the majority, and the Bank of Ghana is saying. Then when I listen to your comment, this is my understanding of what you say. It is not just about the spend. It is about the how as well. And yesterday at the tail end of your conversation, you mentioned GDP. GDP is pretty much like the final denominator, per my basic understanding of this. So you can say that, oh, you spend to cushion inflation, you spend to cushion monetary policy, you spend to stabilize the city, but it is still not enough. Is that a fair assessment to make of the two sides of the divide? Is that a fair assessment? Fair. Okay, so Prince, let me start with you. If World Bank of Ghana, who are the managers, or if you like, the bankers of governments, are saying, we have not spent the money on frivolous things, but we have spent to shore the dollar. That is why the CD has been around 10, 11 for almost like a year. If you go to the bank and you go for a loan, you are not paying 30% anymore. You are paying 17, 18 thereabouts. If you look at inflation, which is a consistent rise in the price of goods and services, years before, last year, last 2 years, last 3 years, we saw that if you went to the markets, you could go to a supermarket this morning, by the time you go there the next day, the price is different and all of this. Is there not enough evidence to justify the spend?
Okay, so first of all, once again, I will take the opportunity to.
If you could speak up a bit for me.
Yeah. Today I feel calm, so sorry for that.
And you have another calm brother.
Okay. So I feel like being a bit calm so that hopefully I can really get my points across, and some of the people who want to truly learn might be educated. When it comes to the economy, for me, and I think I share this from none other than the president himself, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama himself, who is on record to have said that economics is not about statistics. It's about the lived experience of people, how people feel, how they have the purchasing power, the means, the ability to participate, to keep their business going, to be able to trade, to sell, people buying, economic activity. After all, it's the same president and government that came in promising the 24-hour economy. So what is all that? It means that we want a certain level of economic growth and activity that will bring about employment and bring about economic growth overall and development. Okay, because the
Ideally.
development, yeah, it's key. Development is also what will bring further growth in the future. If you do not put in place the fundamentals that are going to lead to more economic activity, then your development is also going to be not up to what is required. So that's the ultimate aspect of economics. When you were talking, I took two things out of it, interestingly, in your opening remarks. Okay, I took economic growth, and I also took the lending rate, or as in the rate of lending. Those were the two things I took from it. Interestingly, you know why?
Tell me.
The reason is that many of the things that we talk about often are not end in themselves. The exchange rate is a rate of doing business. It is not an end in itself. In other words, many people who are hearing me, the dollar can go to 1 cedi today. If you don't have the means to even buy, it won't mean anything to you. Right? The dollar has gone down. How many of you can buy dollars right now? How many of you can actually take
So you are saying you don't
advantage?
feel the effect
No,
of
no,
that?
no. I'm just going into the theory of
Okay.
it. That it's not an end in itself. It's not an end because the dollar, whatever the rate may be, if you don't have the means to go and buy some or use it to do something, it doesn't affect you. The same for inflation. Yes, inflation is important because the rate at which prices are going up or down does have an impact. I'm not saying they are not impactful. But ultimately, even if inflation goes down to 1% and you don't have the purchasing power, you can't buy. There are many examples, too many examples of traders who are complaining that prices have gone down, the people are still not buying. You hear it all the time, right? Unless we think it's not true. But what we hear from the ground is that people's ability to purchase, the purchasing power.
I
has
rather
really
hear the
gone down.
reverse.
Okay.
That prices steadily go up every now and then.
Some people say that there are always going to be some items that whose prices are going up, and then some which prices are going down. You understand? I mean, when we say the rate of inflation,
Pretty
it
much
doesn't
like a
mean,
demand and supply thing.
yes, and it also doesn't mean that everything is going by that rate. So, for
Yes.
example, if we say inflation is now 3.6%, it doesn't mean that everything's the price of everything is now not going up more than 3.6%.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that. Some items would go down more than that, right? Some items will even see this total deflation, as in it will go down from the price before completely, while some may be going up. I can use the example of coffee. I'm a coffee drinker. Okay, price of coffee has gone up significantly, in part because I researched into it. The world market price for coffee had gone up, and a few other things, and then some aspect of the increase that I could not explain. But price of coffee had gone down since 2024 significantly, around 170, 180 now, when it was around 120 something. But cement has gone down a bit, right?
Yes.
Okay, so some go down, some go up. But that doesn't, you average it and then you come up with what you believe to be the rate of inflation. So it's like an average, if you get what I mean. All right. So all those things are important. The economic indicators are important. But to me, what really matters is some of the sort of what I call end in themselves kind of statistics. Are people borrowing? Lending has gone down, the degree of lending, significantly. I'll try and search for the number in the next
17,
segment.
18,
It's
as
gone
of
down.
yesterday. Yeah.
It's gone down. No, I'm not talking about the lending rate.
Okay.
I'm talking about the level of borrowing from the banks
Okay.
or lending from the banks.
The percentage of people who are borrowing from
Right,
banks.
right.
Okay.
Gone down significantly, even after the rates have gone down. That's a major issue because that is one of these final economic indicators. Those ones, if people are not borrowing, okay, even when rates are going down, that's a huge problem because it means that for whatever reason, either the banks themselves are not lending, and there could be various reasons for that. Okay, for example, there's enough evidence that something called open market operations (OMO) has the rates that the banks make of OMO has gone up. So the banks may be finding value, more profit from engaging in OMO than lending to consumers out there. Risks are also higher because economic activity has been tepid. I honestly don't know. Sometimes there's also statistics that are concerning. It beats your understanding to an extent. So you want to probe into it if you can. But at times you don't have the capacity to do all the research. I, for one, find it difficult that this economy grew at 6%, which is the final rate that provisionally World Bank had us growing at 4% last year. And the IMF had us growing at 4.3% last year. The new numbers, the updated numbers I've seen is that 2024, the economy, and I've already told you that that's one of the key measures for me. Okay, it's economic growth. That's GDP, real GDP growth. That's the number I look at more than anything else. When I want to see if this government is really doing well and maybe I should be worried, that's the number I look at. I don't look at almost anything else because that is the soup. It's not necessarily about the ingredients. You can have lots of spices, you can have lots of salt, you can have tomatoes, pepper, you can have what have you.
But how it will turn out.
It's the turnout because all these things that the government is doing. So the first thing I really want to conclude at, the first conclusion I want to draw here is what is the economic growth? Now it's been updated to 6%. Okay? For 2025. Whether I believe it or not, I didn't feel it was like that. But that's what the number that at least I've seen IMF is reporting that we grew at 6%. The previous year was 5.8, updated from 5.7. Okay, they update, they give provisional numbers and then, it goes through all the analytics and then it's normal. They would then give you a final updated number that we go with history. It's very normal process. Okay, so the final numbers for 2024 is 5.8. So the economy whose inflation rate was 23%, okay, and the exchange rate ending around 15 or slightly below 15, grew in real terms, that's adjusted for inflation, at 5.8% at the earlier part of the recovery that we were all going through. And the economy that got all these injections, in my opinion, over intervention, and I'm sure I'll get the opportunity to delve more into it, after all this spending, which are not sustainable. And that's part of the mission of the
Your basis
BoG.
for saying it's not sustainable?
It's
Because
not.
I heard your come say that as well.
Sure, I'll get into it, but I hope I could just wrap
Sure,
up this section.
we are getting there, yeah.
Because I'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of this BoG. I just wanted to talk about the end result of all that we're doing first. And I believe that after all they spent, we grew the economy at 6%. We're almost at the same spot where we are. And why? Why are we at that spot? Of course, NDC is not knowing, in our opinion, they don't know how to make their soup very well. Because this is a time, like an earlier NDC government, when Prof. Mills' administration inherited a great situation that President Kufuor had left him, We had just had newfound oil, if you could recall. We had HIPIC. We just come off HIPIC. And our debt to GDP was around 25%. Today we're inching close back up again. We're going back up again. I think we're over 50% again. They came in, it went down to 48, 49. It's creeping up again, around 53, I think. And 25% GDP debt to GDP ratio, meaning you have a capacity. I hope you understand. That's your debt versus your capacity, your income, or at least your net worth, if you can put it like that in personal terms. So we had capacity, we had newfound oil, and what did President Mills do? He grew the economy at 14%. 14%. Okay? Stellar economic growth, meaning we had great capacity. A lot of it was from the oil, but that's what is expected to be done. You don't miss those opportunities. What do we see today? Ghanaians, this should be the time of Ghana's renaissance. We should not be struggling. Why? Why are we struggling to even grow the economy? We grew the economy by 0.2%.
Are you in any way suggesting, and this is documentation that we picked from Bank of Ghana, unless you have a reason to doubt these figures, that end of year 2024, you say that the things that would constitute the ingredients that constitute the soup would not matter, but it would have to be factored into this conversation. So, for example, end of year 2024, inflation at 23.8%. As a last year, this year I know we're around 3.2, but as a last year ending at 5.4%. Food inflation at 27.8%, ending at 4.9% last year. CD to the US dollar, I recall the 14.7, 14.6. If we were buying from a forex bureau, the price was different. If you're buying from
it's always the retail is always
it's always the figures never seem to be the same.
Higher.
I've never understood that.
That's how it is.
Yeah, as a last year, somewhere around 10.5.
Take the official as almost like a wholesale.
Yeah, and the other one as a retail. Okay.
Yeah.
Foreign reserves end of 2024 stood at 9.1 billion. As we speak, as a last year, it was 13.8 billion. And again, I want to stress that these are figures from the Bank of Ghana. Months of import cover 4.1. End of 2025 5.7. Policy rates at 27% end of 2024, end of 2025 at 18%. Average lending rate 30.2% end of 2024, end of last year around 20.4%. 91-day treasury bill, and I remember that it's been going down for some time. 27.7. So a lot of people were investing in that space. Today it's not that attractive. 11.1% ending last year. Public debt percentage of GDP, and you mentioned that end of 2024 was around 62%. End of 2025 is 45%. GDP growth excluding oil 6.1%. As of 2026, 7.6%. Banking capital adequacy 14.0%. End of last year 17.5%. And non-performing loans 21.8%. Assets last year 18.9%. I look at those as a layman from the Bank of Ghana. I'm thinking their explanation to the spend or this cost that you refer to. This is the evidence of that cost. Again, they have spent money. You say you're looking at the GDP, which is fair, but you can also isolate the individual indicators there. They say, I have spent the money this way, and this is my terminal report, pretty much. As far as inflation is concerned, food inflation is concerned, foreign reserves is concerned, this is concerned. So we have used that to support. And this morning I was listening to an economist who was saying that, look, so for example, if you take, let's say, the UAE, they produce oil in these very difficult times in their space. They use their reserves to show, let's say, pricing. And you say because they are using their oil reserves to show pricing, they are, for want of a better word, blowing the money. It is their resources. It's not like they are taking a loan to pay salaries, something like that. They are using their resources. In our case, we sold our gold, correct? Made some money, and we're doing something with it. You don't buy that.
You see, so let me just conclude. I want to stay because I hope I have the time
Oh, we have
to
time
get into
before Dr.
the
Kata comes in. Yeah.
BOG's. I heard something about 7.6 GDP growth. I don't know where they're getting that, but again, I've noted that down, so we'll talk more about it. This economy did not grow 7.6%. I don't know where they're
That's
getting
what I'm saying.
it.
I started by asking you, these are figures from
Anyway,
Bank of Ghana,
PAC,
unless you have
I
any
believe
figures
PAC,
that does not align with us.
PAC is going to sit down with them, so we'll get more. I'm sure the public will get more information, which should have happened in the first place. The BOG is supposed to transmit, all right, per the Banking Act, the Bank of Ghana Act, Section 58. They are supposed to have sent this statement to the Minister of Finance, and then from the Minister of Finance to Parliament officially. But what did we see? We've turned the thing into so much political football. The first people who came in to announce this and discuss it was the NDC majority caucus with some NDC communicators who were discussing a report that had not been released to Parliament. Okay, which we have already protested. That shouldn't have been the case, because if the BOG officials themselves had released this, they per the procedure prescribed by law, and even go to Parliament and explain, this would have been a lot more technocratic and less partisan as it has turned out. But this is how it has been. So they come in and then they start talking about a report at that time that we hadn't even got access to. So as I conclude on the main point that I was making, when you put all the ingredients, whether it's inflation mix, okay, or exchange rate mix, and other things, lending rates and what have you, the question is, how is it impacting lives? That's what matters. The reason being that, you see, when it comes to policy, there are various different ways you can achieve.
Can I say that it's impacting my life when I go to the bank and I have to take a loan 2024 at 30% to do business, and now I have to go to the bank and take a loan at 17%? Sure. That's clearly an impact for my business.
Yes.
Because I don't have to now pay more money to the bank.
That cannot be a bad thing. And I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, but your side appears to have a challenge with
what
that.
We're saying is that, why is it that when all of this happened, we've ended up with the rate of lending go down? Why? Isn't that the ultimate measure? It's the ultimate measure. You said that you can go and you can get a lower rate, but yet you are not going. People are not going. They are not borrowing. The banks are not lending. Why? And how is that affecting business if the rate at which people are lending and borrowing has gone down? How do you explain that? If it's so good, if it's so effective, why is it not happening in the market? Why is the degree of lending and borrowing going down? If all these statistics that we're hearing are so solid, why would we have a situation where the economic growth is 6%? And I'm going with the IMF rates. I'm not going with any other rate at this point, because that's what I trust a bit more. Why is it that the economic growth rate was 5.8% in 2024? And here, as I have explained already, and it's
you can sum it up for me so that I get Dr. Kata into the conversation.
All Ghanaians to hear. When we say real GDP growth, okay, it's already factored inflation. Don't say that, well, the economic growth was like this, but inflation was high. No, real GDP growth, you can check it, you can Google, already has inflation factored. Meaning that that is real money essentially going into the market, going into people's pockets, going into people's businesses. And it was 5.8 in 2024. And it's 6.0 in 2025. At a time where gold prices, which is the key to this whole economy, this government will die, but for the gold price, which is doubled in price, they will be dead. I can assure you of that. This government will be more than reeling by now. had we not had the gold windfall.
Had we not?
Yes.
We have.
And
it's
that
stabilized things.
No. Listen. That's an external factor. It is not anything to do with government policy. The government has zero to do with the gold per ounce price
in terms of
on the world
pricing.
market.
Okay.
Nothing. And when Nana Addo was leaving office, the gold price was 2,400 roughly per ounce. Today, the average at this point is around 4,800. It's gone as far as 5,006, 5,007, and it's gone down a bit to about 4,001, 4,002. I'm averaging it around 4,800, meaning just about double. Do you know how much we earned from gold in 2025? You know?
Tell me.
16 billion.
That's what is being reported, yes.
And that was half of all our inflows. Unprecedented. The gold price today is at a 50-year, more over a 50-year high. We haven't seen this kind of gold in forever. This is more than maybe even the oil find that Atta Mills used to grow our economy at 14%. Why are we having a tepid 6.0 growth at this point?
Okay.
Why?
I think your
so the soup
your
is
point
not
is
coming out well. I will get
probably
into
that's how I would
the
want to wrap up as well.
BoG